Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. Your dreams don't care how you feel. Success doesn't wait for motivation. And wealth will never chase you. You have to go out there and take it. See, most people live their lives waiting for the perfect time, waiting to feel ready, waiting for inspiration to hit them like a bolt of lightning. And that's why most people never achieve greatness, because they're trapped by their emotions, trapped by their excuses, trapped by their own inaction. Most people believe that motivation is the key to success. They think that if they could just feel inspired enough, they would finally take action and achieve their goals. But here's the problem. Motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes like the wind. And if you build your life around waiting for it, you will stay stuck in the same place forever. The harsh truth is that motivation is nothing more than a fleeting emotion. And emotions are the weakest foundation for success. You can't depend on how you feel to determine what you do, because your feelings will betray you every single time. Think about all the times you plan to do something great. Start a business, hit the gym, wake up early, make that call. In that moment of excitement, you felt unstoppable. You saw the vision so clearly that it almost felt real. But then the next day came, the excitement faded. Suddenly, you weren't in the mood. You told yourself you'd do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow became next week. Next week became never. This is the cycle that traps millions of people in mediocrity, waiting to feel like it. But the truth is, successful people don't wait for motivation. They take action regardless of how they feel. Motivation is like a spark. It's great for starting a fire, but it's useless if there's nothing to keep the fire burning. That's why most people start something with excitement and then quit the moment that excitement wears off. They blame a lack of motivation when in reality the problem is their lack of discipline. Discipline is what separates the successful. It's the ability to take action even when you don't feel like it, even when you're tired, even when everything in you is screaming to quit. When you rely on motivation, you make progress only when conditions are perfect. But when you rely on discipline, you make progress no matter what. People say, I need motivation to get started, but that's backward. The truth is, action creates motivation, not the other way around. The moment you start moving, even in the smallest way, your mind shifts. Your energy increases. You begin to feel motivated because you are in motion. It's like pushing a heavy boulder. The hardest part is getting it to move at first, but once it's rolling, momentum takes over. This is why waiting for motivation is one of the biggest mistakes you can make. Instead of waiting, act first. Start before you feel ready. The simple act of doing will generate the motivation you've been searching for. The most successful people in the world wake up and go to work whether they feel like it or not. They understand that feelings are temporary, but results are permanent. A champion doesn't train only when they feel motivated. They train every single day. A great entrepreneur doesn't work only when they're excited. They show up consistently, even on the hard days. This is the mindset you must adopt. If you let emotions dictate your actions, you will always be a slave to your moods. But if you train yourself to take action despite your feelings, you become unstoppable. Many people use lack of motivation as an excuse to stay comfortable. They convince themselves that they need the right moment to begin. But the right moment never comes. The right moment is created through action. Every second you spend waiting is another second wasted. Success is not about how you feel, it's about what you do consistently. You don't need to feel like doing the work, you just need to do it. Because when you commit to action, the results will come, and when results come, motivation follows. If you look at the people who achieve great things, you'll notice something. They are not always motivated, but they are always moving. They show up every single day, regardless of the circumstances. They understand that progress is built through relentless, consistent effort, not occasional bursts of inspiration. When you embrace this truth, you will stop looking for motivation and start looking for ways to execute. You will realize that waiting to feel like it is the ultimate trap, and that the only way to break free is to force yourself into action. This is where true power lies, not in feeling inspired, but in mastering the ability to move forward without inspiration. The moment you stop relying on motivation, you take full control over your life. Most people treat success like an option, something they might go after if they feel like it or if the timing is right. But that's why most people never reach their full potential. They treat success as if it's a luxury, something extra, instead of treating it like survival, something they must have, something they can't live without. Think about it. If you were stranded in the middle of the ocean, would you feel like swimming? Would you wait for motivation to kick in before you started moving? No. You would fight with everything in you to stay afloat, because if you didn't, you would drown. That's how you have to treat success. The problem is that too many people are comfortable where they are. They might not like their situation, but it's not painful enough to make them move. They tolerate mediocrity because they don't see the urgency in changing their life. But imagine if your dreams, your financial future, your purpose, all of it depended on you taking action right now. Imagine if your very survival was at stake. How would you move? Would you make excuses, or would you fight with everything in you to get to where you need to be? The truth is, the level of effort you put into something is directly tied to how important it is to you. If success is just a nice idea, you'll move slowly. If success is a necessity, you'll move like your life depends on it. People who achieve greatness don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't treat success like an optional goal. They treat it like oxygen, something they cannot function without. If you were underwater holding your breath, how long would you wait before gasping for air? How hard would you fight to get back to the surface? That's how you need to approach your goals. There is no waiting. There is no hesitation. There is only action, because action is the only way to survive. When you treat success like survival, you eliminate procrastination. You eliminate doubt. You eliminate the option to quit. Look at the most successful people in the world, athletes, entrepreneurs, leaders. They all have one thing in common. They have an obsessive urgency about their mission. They don't wake up and wonder if today is a good day to work. They wake up and go to war for their dreams. They understand that every second wasted is a second they can never get back. They know that if they don't move, someone else will. And in a world that rewards action, the ones who hesitate are the ones who lose. Success is not for the comfortable, it's for the relentless. When your mindset shifts from I want success to I need success to survive, everything changes. Your focus sharpens, your energy increases, you stop making excuses, you stop worrying about what people think. You stop caring about failure because failure is no longer an option. You become ruthless about your growth. You no longer give yourself the luxury of waiting for the right time, because you know the right time is right now. The problem is most people allow comfort to lull them into complacency. They believe they have time. But the truth is, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to escape the trap of an average life. Fear, doubt, and hesitation disappear when survival is at stake. If you knew that you had only 6 months to completely change your financial situation, or you'd lose everything, how would you act? Would you still waste time? Would you still scroll through distractions, or would you attack your goals with everything in you? The reason most people don't succeed is because they don't put themselves in a position where success is the only option. They always leave a back door open, an escape route, in case things get too hard. But those who win are the ones who burn the boats and commit fully. Success requires the same kind of urgency and intensity as survival. It's not something you hope for, it's something you demand from life. The problem is most people have never put themselves in a position where success is their only way forward. They always have a plan B, a safety net, a backup plan for when things don't work out. But when you remove the safety net, when you make up your mind that you will either succeed or you will fight until you do, then you become unstoppable. The people who rise to the top are not necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They are the ones who refuse to accept failure as an outcome. The moment you stop treating success like an option and start treating it like something you must have to survive, you will start moving differently. You will start waking up earlier, working harder, pushing past your excuses, and doing whatever it takes. Success is not reserved for the lucky or the gifted. It is reserved for those who are willing to fight for it as if their life depended on it. Most people go into their goals with a mindset of, I'll try and see what happens. That's why most people fail. Because when you allow the possibility of failure to exist in your mind, you give yourself permission to quit. You leave the back door open. You tell yourself, if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to what's comfortable. And that's exactly what happens when things get hard, when the obstacles show up, when doubt creeps in, you retreat. But when failure is not an option, you don't retreat. You don't back down. You don't give up. You fight, you adjust, you push forward no matter what. Think about a soldier in battle. When they go into war, they don't step onto the battlefield thinking, if this gets too dangerous, I'll just leave. No, they have one mission: to win. That's the mentality you have to develop, because success is a battle. Every day you are fighting against distractions, against self-doubt, against the temptation to stay comfortable. And if you don't go into this fight with the mindset that you will win no matter what, then you've already lost. The moment you entertain failure as a possibility, you weaken your own power. People who succeed are not necessarily smarter or more talented than those who fail. They just refuse to accept failure as an outcome. They make up their minds that they will succeed no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it gets. They don't see challenges as roadblocks. They see them as stepping stones. Every setback, every struggle, every rejection is just part of the process. They don't let failure stop them because in their minds, failure doesn't exist. There is only learning, adjusting, and continuing to move forward. Most people quit too early because they expect the journey to be easy. They believe that if they face resistance, it must mean they're not meant to succeed. But resistance is a test. It's the universe asking, how bad do you really want this? And most people fail the test because they don't have the mental toughness to push through. The ones who make it to the top are not the ones who had it easy. They are the ones who took every punch, every setback, every obstacle, and kept going. They didn't give themselves a way out. They didn't allow themselves to think, maybe this isn't for me. They decided in advance that quitting was not an option. The reason most people fail is that they give themselves too many chances to fail. They say, I'll try this for a few months and see if it works. But what happens when those months pass and they don't see results? They quit because they gave themselves an expiration date. But success doesn't work that way. Success doesn't happen on your timeline. It happens when you prove that you are willing to endure whatever it takes for as long as it takes. When you remove the option to quit, your mind stops looking for exits and it starts looking for solutions. Burn the boats. If you want to win, you have to remove the escape plan. If you truly want success, you cannot afford to have a backup plan. Because as long as you have a plan B, you are secretly planning for failure. And if you are planning for failure, you have already lost. The most successful people in the world have one thing in common. They are all in. They don't play it safe. They don't dip their toes in the water and test the temperature. They dive in, fully committed, fully invested, fully determined to make it work. And because they refuse to quit, they eventually succeed. It's not a matter of if you will face failure, it's a matter of when. And when that moment comes, you will either give up or you will push forward. The ones who push forward are the ones who win. They understand that failure is only a detour, not a dead end. They understand that every challenge is an opportunity to grow stronger, to become wiser, to sharpen their skills. They don't waste time complaining about setbacks because they know that every setback is just another step toward success. You must make the decision right now that no matter what happens, you will not quit. No matter how hard it gets, no matter how many times you get knocked down, you will get back up. You will keep moving forward and you will find a way. Because when you remove failure as an option, success becomes inevitable. Every day, people lose the battle with themselves before they even start. They wake up and immediately begin negotiating in their minds, should I get up now or sleep for 5 more minutes? Should I go to the gym today or skip just this once? Should I work on my goals or take it easy? This constant back and forth is the reason why so many people stay stuck. The moment you entertain a debate with yourself, you create room for hesitation, and hesitation kills action. Successful people don't negotiate with their commitments. They don't waste time questioning whether they feel like doing something. They decide once and then they follow through no matter what. When you negotiate with yourself, you give your weaker side the opportunity to win. That's the part of you that wants to stay comfortable, that wants to avoid discomfort, that wants to take the easy route. The problem is the easy route leads nowhere. Every time you delay action, every time you talk yourself out of doing what you know you need to do, you are reinforcing the habit of weakness. And weakness is what keeps people from reaching their potential. If you allow yourself to debate whether or not to take action, you will almost always find an excuse not to. The mind is a master manipulator. They will always try to convince you to do what is easiest, what is safest, what is most familiar. It will tell you that you're too tired, that you're too busy, that today isn't the right time. And if you listen to that voice, you will stay exactly where you are. But if you want to succeed, you have to shut that voice down immediately. The moment a thought enters your mind trying to convince you to delay action, you must override it with movement. Don't think, just move. The longer you let the debate play out in your head, the harder it becomes to take action. Discipline is the ability to act without debate. It's the ability to say, this is what I committed to, and this is what I will do, without questioning, without delaying, without needing motivation. When you train yourself to operate this way, your life transforms. You no longer waste time deciding whether or not to do what needs to be done. You simply do it. The most successful people in the world don't feel like working hard every day. They don't feel like showing up every time. But they do it anyway because they've trained themselves to execute without emotion. They don't entertain discussions about whether or not they should follow through. The decision has already been made. The people who fail in life are the ones who negotiate with themselves daily. They argue about whether they should push themselves or take it easy. They allow their emotions to dictate their actions, and as a result, they live a life controlled by feelings instead of discipline. But the truth is, your feelings are unreliable. Your feelings will change from day to day, moment to moment. If you allow them to determine your level of action, you will never be consistent, and without consistency, success is impossible. The only way to break this cycle is to remove the option of negotiation. Winners don't give themselves choices. They don't wake up and ask, should I work on my dreams today? They wake up and get to work, period. They don't allow feelings, distractions, or excuses to interfere with their mission. When you commit to something, it is no longer a question of if, it is only a question of how. The moment you give yourself the option to back out, you weaken your own commitment. But when you eliminate the option to quit, you force yourself to find a way forward. And that's when real breakthroughs happen. Every time you follow through on what you committed to, you strengthen your mental toughness. You build a reputation with yourself that says, I do what I say I will do. And that confidence compounds. But every time you let yourself off the hook, you weaken that reputation. You train your mind to believe that it's okay to negotiate, that it's okay to break commitments, that it's okay to take the easy way out. And before you know it, that habit of negotiation becomes the reason you never reach your full potential. There is no success for the person who constantly debates with themselves. There is no success for the person who allows hesitation to replace action. The ones who win in life are the ones who decide once and never question it again. They commit, they act, and they execute relentlessly, without emotion, without hesitation, without excuse. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They move slowly, procrastinate, and tell themselves they'll start tomorrow, next week, or next year. They operate under the illusion that they have time to waste. But the truth is, time is running out every single second. Every moment you delay is a moment you will never get back. The people who achieve great things in life are the ones who move with urgency. They don't wait for the perfect moment. They don't waste time debating. They understand that every second counts, and they take action now. A lack of urgency is the reason why so many people never accomplish their goals. They think they can afford to take their time. They think they can keep putting things off until they feel ready. But readiness is a myth. If you wait until you feel ready, you'll never start. Successful people don't wait. They act even when they're unsure, even when they're uncomfortable, even when they're scared. They understand that momentum is built through immediate action, not through endless planning and waiting. The faster you move, the faster you learn, the faster you adapt, and the faster you succeed. Most people don't realize how much time they actually waste. They convince themselves they're being productive, when in reality, they're just delaying action. They scroll through their phones, binge watch shows, or spend hours researching without actually executing. Every wasted hour is an hour you will never get back. Every day you delay is another day lost. If you truly understood the value of time, you would move differently. You would stop making excuses. You would wake up every morning with a sense of urgency and purpose. The people who succeed in life are the ones who treat their goals like an emergency. If your house was on fire, would you sit around and think about what to do? Would you make a detailed plan before taking action? No, you would move immediately. That's the level of urgency you need to bring to your dreams. You have to act as if your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. Your financial future depends on it. Your personal growth depends on it. Your ability to create the life you want depends on how fast you move and how serious you take the time you have. The difference between winners and losers is speed of implementation. Winners don't hesitate. When they get an idea, they take action right away. When they learn something new, they apply it immediately. They don't wait for the right time because they know the right time is right now. But losers, they hesitate, overthink, and talk themselves out of action. They wait until everything is perfect, and in doing so, they waste years of their lives standing still while others pass them by. People who lack urgency always assume they have more time than they actually do. But look around. How many people do you know who said they were going to do something and never did? How many dreams die because people think they can always start later? Later turns into never. Opportunities don't wait. Doors close. Life moves on, and if you don't move with it, you will be left behind. The harsh truth is that the world doesn't care about your excuses. It only rewards those who execute. Every moment you delay, someone else is taking action. While you're sitting on an idea, someone else is already making it happen. While you're waiting for motivation, someone else is grinding through the work. And while you're hesitating, someone else is passing you by. You are not competing with time. You are competing with everyone else who wants the same success you do. The people who rise to the top are the ones who move with a sense of urgency and purpose. They don't waste time worrying about perfection. They focus on progress and they move fast. You cannot afford to wait. You cannot afford to delay. The time you think you have is disappearing every second. If you don't start now, when will you? If you don't take action today, what makes you think you'll take action tomorrow? The longer you wait, the harder it gets. The more you delay, the more comfortable you become in stagnation. Every successful person you admire has one thing in common. They move with urgency. They don't waste time. They make things happen. Most people spend their lives waiting for the perfect moment, waiting for motivation, waiting until they feel ready. But waiting is the enemy of success. Every second you wait, someone else is taking action. Every moment you delay, your dreams move further out of reach. The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple: action. Successful people don't sit around thinking about what they should do. They don't spend years planning and preparing. They take action now, and they figure out the rest as they go. The biggest lie people tell themselves is that they need more time to prepare. They think they need to learn more, get more experience, or wait for the right circumstances. But the truth is, the best way to prepare